Welcome to the Traveling Black Women podcast, where we are talking to Black women around the world. I'm your host, Nadine, and I am so excited to take you on a journey with fearless Black women exploring the world. Each episode, we uncover hidden gems, share travel hacks, and hear inspiring stories from incredible travelers who look just like you. So whether you're a seasoned globetrotter or planning your very first adventure, we've got something special for you. So stay tuned and let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to the Traveling Black Women podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Nadine Duncan, and I am back with a great guest for you all today. Now, I know that a lot of people talk a lot about, how do you travel? What do I need? And all of these different types of things. And at the last TBEX conference, I met this amazing woman, a Black woman who knew a whole lot about dealing with points and miles and how to travel pretty much for free. So I've invited her to talk to you all because I know that this is information that we need to be great, right? So y'all, I'm going to let her introduce herself and we're going to get into some good conversation today.
So hi everyone, I am Risi from Journey with Reese J. Like the candy, childhood nickname I've always had, shortened for my real name, which I won't put on her my full name. But thank you for having me. First of all, it was so amazing meeting you at TBEX. Such an amazing conference. It was my first one, so I'm glad we're able to connect on your podcast. I am Risi of Journey with Reese J, where I teach my audience how to travel for free using their credit card points and miles. That includes frequent flyers and things like that. But when you hear it was formerly known as travel hacking. We mention it as award travel now because the credit cards don't like hacking near the names. So formerly known as travel hacking. So a lot of you may have been familiar with that term, may not have known what it was, but that's essentially what it was. And so just a little bit of background about me. I have a background in business and finance. I used to work in hedge fund and private equities and investments. And I also have another business. So one of the businesses I had like starting right out of grad school is Reese J Consulting, where I do credit repair, business credit building, helping others get access to funding, teaching financial literacy, etc. So I already had like a background in these things. I was already familiar with credit cards, credit card companies. And so years down the line, 2 years ago is when I started Journey with Reese J. And it started as a group. It started after my first trip that I planned. It wasn't my first time using points and miles, earning them. I had a lot of these cards and I had a lot of them, especially when I started building business credit. I had a lot of the business cards already. And so it was about learning how to maximize them, which a lot of people don't have. They're like, oh, I got points. I get points for flying. And so that's great, but you don't earn as much as maybe your cards and things like that. And so that's how I got into the industry. And like, I really loved it. And from there, I started recording my content. And that is how I started Journey with Reese J.
That's amazing. One of the things that I think was real interesting about just the fact that you're in this space is that when we think about influencers, you think about content creation, and people don't always think about them as resources right off the bat. But then when they hit Google, like I had a conversation with Tamiko the other day on another episode, they hit Google, we're the ones who are coming up, right? So even though it's content and it's influencing and all of that, at the end of the day, we are creating the resources that are more relatable, where you can say, okay, I see somebody who looks like me, who's actually doing this thing the right way, having a great time, living her life. Like, okay, now let me lean in and figure out how to do it. So you've made yourself an amazing resource in this space.
Yes. And I remember when I was looking into getting vlogging equipment. And so I was looking for reviews. I had to do a comparison. And that was my first time experience. It gave me a YouTube video, and it gave me a YouTube video of a Black woman. And it gave me like her getting, comparing the different equipment she had. So I'm like, this is my first time, usually it'll give us sources, it'll give us a blog, do the comparison. But it's starting to push out content from social media and platforms and things like that to give a review, which I think is extremely helpful because I want someone that looks like me. I want someone that's relatable and not just someone just pushing out a brand or a product that can make it relatable and relatable to what I'm doing.
Right. All right. So tell me about your first trip. The first time you realized, wait a minute, this is a thing. Like I'm doing it.
Okay. So I've always traveled, always loved to travel. My grandmother, my mother made sure we traveled as kids, but this took it to another level. And I'll just give a set precedence before I go into my first trip. I had traveled to 7 countries before I started the points and miles game. And since then, Canada, when we met in Quebec, was 27.
Okay.
So 20 countries in 2 years is how
Nice.
I've traveled over
Nice.
$250,000 in nearly free travel. I've traveled on some of the top brands, Qatar Airways, their Q suites, their first class A380. I've
Ooh.
traveled on Singapore Airlines, their business class. I'm going on Emirates Game Changer, New Year's Eve to go to Dubai with the private suite.
Nice.
Points and miles are only covered for taxes and fees. So I have gotten this game, mastered it, learned it, and I love it. It can become addicting and it's become a whole brand and a whole business. And I love that
I
I'm
would
able to talk to someone
imagine.
such as you and your audience because I do want us to be more accessible to it and learn about it because when I took a deep dive into
Uh-huh.
points and miles and learning about it, it's not a lot of us in that space. It's not a lot of us as bloggers. I went to a CardCon conference and it wasn't many of us in that space. It wasn't a lot of us in the groups and things like that who were aware. And I'll even
Mhm.
go with us, we think everything is scam. So that's one.
Yes.
We get free travel, like whatever, that's not possible. I've
Yeah.
gotten where they think it's like, oh, you get free travel from tourism boards and things like that. And it's like that's the goal now as a influencer to get hosted and paid. But that's not what I
Right.
mean when I say teach you, because everybody doesn't want to be an influencer or do travel content. And so
Right.
yeah, so I love being able to reach us and teach us as much as I can. I have a very diverse audience and I have an amazing group and, things like that, my top supporters. So I love them, but I will also love more of my, women and black women to get on board
Yes.
and learn and maximize. Some of them do. I have a few and I love it. I'm like, okay, girl, when they know what they
Yeah.
know. And then
Yeah.
just taking it, helping them take it a bit further. So to answer your question, my first trip was to Hawaii. It was for my
Okay.
31st birthday. And
Okay.
so I had just got the Southwest Companion Pass. And so we were going to Hawaii. We were going to go to where we going? Maui? We were going to Maui and Honolulu. So this is my first
Okay.
time here. And so, like I mentioned, with my other business and already having some of these cards, I already had points. So luckily I hadn't redeemed these set of
Mhm.
points. And so I was like, okay, should I pay cash or should I use my points? So I knew we were using the companion pass and I had to meet a sign up bonus. I had just signed up for the Chase Business Inc. card
Mhm.
and I had just got the companion pass. So I had got both those cards and I was like, let me see about using my points for these instead of using cash. And so when I was looking at them, I was looking at Hilton using my Amex points. And so I was looking like that may be too many points. My mom was like, girl, just use the points. You'll get them back. And boy, did I. I was like, okay, because these are points that I just got like the normal way, just swiping on my card, earning, but it takes you longer to earn that way. So I'll get into that later. And so, yeah, so I did the Hilton Honolulu Waikiki Village. I did that. That's right on Waikiki Beach. I did 5 nights
Mhm.
there, completely free. They don't charge taxes and fees or anything, so completely free. And
Nice.
also because I had the Amex Platinum card, they give you Hilton Gold status. So we got breakfast every day for two for free. We were gold members, so we got upgraded. So I don't know if you're familiar with like the Rainbow Tower. So we got upgraded right there to the Rainbow Tower, a higher floor. And so yeah, so that was great. And then we did 5 days in Maui where I used my Wyndham points to stay at a Vacasa property, which is like Airbnb, and you can use your Wyndham points, which most people don't know. And so I used 67,000 points to stay 5 nights at a condo in Maui. Absolutely beautiful. It's a 1 bedroom condo for five
Mhm.
days. It would have cost us $2,500 just for the 5 days in Maui. The 5 days in Honolulu would have cost us about the same or a little bit more because we were upgraded. And then the
Mhm.
flights we paid cash for, we paid like 557. So for a trip that should have cost us well over $7,000, we only paid 557 for two of us for 10 days. And so once I learned that and see, I kind of took a deep dive into it. I'm a big researcher and I just
Yeah.
went like, I took a deep dive into it. And I'm like, this is how far the points can go. So I was doing a little bit of it, but on a different
Uh-huh.
level. I was already making sure if they say, oh, we're going to give you cash back if you spend $3,000, I made sure I got my cash back. I made sure I hit my bonus, right? Um, but I wasn't using it to the fullest potential. August
Mhm.
2022, we went to Cancun for my best friend's birthday. We used cash. I called American Express like, hey, I want to redeem 65,000 points because I want a Neiman Marcus gift card. I had a separate Neiman Marcus gift card from a previous purchase, so I was going to put them together and go get it back. And so I
Mhm.
asked her to express everything. So 65,000, let's just say 1 to 1, 65,000 points is worth $650 if you redeem it for cash.
Okay.
So I named the numbers just to give it to you. So 65,000 points is how much for a $650 gift card. So I put them together. I got a YSL bag. You couldn't tell me nothing. Okay, like I'm like, I got this bag pretty much for free. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
I still had to put money with it, but it was the bulk of it was covered with my points. I'm like, I got this bag for free using my points, right? So fast forward when I got into this game, I've
Mhm.
used 20,000 points to fly round trip to Paris, Milan, and Switzerland. You just had to cover the taxes and
What?
fees. I'm going to Greece in August. I used 60,000 points, actually a little bit less with bonuses to fly business class to Greece. So any long haul flight, baby, I need to be laying flat or am I going? So 60,000 points covered a $4,000 or $5,000 flight for me. Versus I just said
Nice.
a 65,000 points that I redeemed for a gift card only got me $650. So the
Right.
points go way further when you redeem them for travel by transferring them directly to the travel partners. And so once
Okay.
I learned that, baby, game over. Like, okay, I'm learning
Yes.
I'm learning everything with it. And
Right.
so travel hacking, as I mentioned, or award travel is essentially you sign up for the card. It may say like, hey, you spend $4,000 in 3 months, you'll get 60,000 bonus points, right?
Mhm.
That's going to add up fast than if you're just charging some dollars on a card that only gets you one or even two. Let's say it gives you two times back, right? If you're not working on a bonus, that's only 8,000 points versus if you had a sign up bonus, that's 64,000 points because you got the base points and you got the
Mhm.
bonus.
Okay.
And so, but the key of the game is like you don't go into debt. You want to have this on your normal spending. And so that's
Okay.
one of the services like I offer consultation things like so we're making sure that the cards that you get, number one, you qualify for because every bank has their own rules.
Right.
But also that it's aligned to your goals. You know, there are some cards where it's like, hey, you spent 30,000 in 6 months and we'll give you this. Some people are like, I'll never touch that, right? I'll never touch that in a year. That card isn't for you, and that's okay. And knowing to say
Mhm.
okay. And it may be a card where I have my younger cousins that's in their early 20s. You know, they may not be able to reach 4,000, right? Their bills may not be, they may be a college student. So we may need to find you a card that's like 1,500 or 2,000 or get
Gotcha.
creative in ways, but you put all your spending on that card and then you pay it off. So you're maximizing your everyday spending to get this free
Mhm.
travel. So you're not just going out to spend, right? You're putting your rent, you're paying a fee, but the fee is going to be outweighed if you're working on a bonus. You're putting your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance, everything goes on a card. And then you use your credit card like a debit card. So you pay it off so that you're not accruing interest because that's going to
Right.
outweigh the benefits. You don't want to get into debt. You want to be
Right.
paying off the cards, but you're earning. And it's like, who's going to give you that? Let's just say your tax bill is $5,000. Okay, let's say you get this one card that gives you 100,000 points when you spend 5,000. Now that card has covered you a couple of trips, right? You can fly economy to Europe 2 times round trip, right? And possibly cover some hotel stays. Where else would you get that kind of return on your money? But some
Right.
people don't even know that you can pay your taxes with a credit card. Now you do get charged a small fee, but like I said,
Mhm.
if you're earning more and significantly more than the fee, then it's worth it. And it has to be worth it to you, right? Like it doesn't benefit
Right.
me unless it benefits me. So if
Right.
you're not interested in travel, you may be like, hey, I'm cool with a cashback card. It's complex because this game is complex. And so that's why
Mhm.
I teach it. That's why I have my blog that has tons of resources. And I'll make sure we drop it here. My blog, my private group has tons of resources. And it's a beginner friendly group because you can get into some
Okay.
of these groups and they're very snooty, they're not helpful. And I don't play that in my group. Like the tone, we're here to help. I'm almost always the person that's first responding, but sometimes my other group members respond like very interactive, which I love. We hold these cards, especially in the travel space, right? Because traveling Black women, I'm sure eventually they're like, hey, I need a travel card. Because that was me when I
Right.
when I got one a year prior. I was like, okay, I'm traveling. The pandemic is slowly ending. We're slowly able to travel more. I need a travel card. And I'm like, I want a business travel card. So I started getting business travel cards. The bottom thing, too, that I always say is why I would choose a points card over cashback, at least for me, again, everybody's
Mhm.
situation is different because you can always turn most of the time. So I won't say always. But if it's a flexible earning card, like let's say the Chase Sapphire Reserve and you have Chase Ultimate Reward points, you can
Mhm.
redeem those points for a statement credit back to your card. You can
Okay.
redeem it for gift cards or you can redeem it for cash. Well, they'll deposit the cash. So if you have 100,000 points, you could tell Chase, like, hey, redeem these, give me $1,000, right? You can't do
Mhm.
that in the reverse. You can't change cash back cards to points. And so
Okay.
I like that flexibility. So if an emergency happened and you're like, hey, I got this card, so that I could travel and so I could use the points. But right now, I need to redeem some of it. And sometimes life happens, and some people do that. They may be like, I have to redeem a portion of it. That's just a situation right now. And so that's where I come in at, because not like you're blindly out there, or you got a lot of resources. There are tons of great points and mouths, because that's how a lot of times I learn. But you want to vet them, but also do your own research. Even if it's me,
Yeah.
always fact check, do your own research. And I love AI down. Okay. I love ChatGPT. But you have to I call her. You have to fact check her too. Even if
Yeah.
you tell her to
Yeah.
fact check, you have to fact check her. She a lot of times will give you the link to the source she went to. Go to it, but it could be outdated information. Just like any
That's right.
game, the information out there could be outdated. So
That's
you want
right.
to make sure that it's current and updated information, because just like cash, points and miles are a form of currency. They have value. And just like
Mhm.
your money sitting and hoarding can lose value over time, so can your points. So that's also
Mm.
a nature of the game. They're always changing it. They're changing their value. Like Emirates, before you could transfer your American Express to Emirates for 1 to 1, meaning every 1,000 points you transfer from American Express, you get 1,000 Emirate points. Well,
Mhm.
in October, they're changing that. From every 1,000, you're going to get 800, I believe. They did
Oh,
like a 5-to-4 ratio instead of a 1 to 1.
yeah.
But that's
Okay.
because too, I think they're catching on that a lot of people are getting into this game. They don't like
Yeah.
it, and so they're cracking down, making it less accessible. And so, unfortunately, it's like that's the nature of the game. And so that's why I don't recommend what we call in the award travel space is earn and burn. Right? Like,
Mhm.
don't hoard your points. I know you may have a plan for them. I don't recommend you're just out there burning sporadically. I try to squeeze out the most value out of my points possible. But I
Mhm.
also that is an example of why we don't hoard, because they're
Okay.
always changing the game and the values and things like that. There's families sitting in first class, or there's families going on these amazing trips, and you're maybe saving for a whole year to take your families, and you don't know they paid less to sit in those seats than you paid for your whole vacation
Mm.
that you saved the
Yeah.
whole year for.
Yeah.
So it's definitely when you get into it and you know what you know, you take a deep dive and you do your research, you find people like me, and we're gonna teach you. We're
Yeah.
gonna put we're not gatekeeping over here. We're gonna put you on game so you could do the same too.
As much as I've traveled, I have not maximized my points in flights and points and miles as much as I should have.
Yeah.
I have used them for like with my MS card, taking a portion off a flight, so I might use them and like take off half.
Mhm.
I've used them for free flights with my American Express Delta Sky Miles card, but I
Yeah.
haven't really maximized it. I'm still in the back balled up, girl. So while you in the front, laid out, getting your champagne before the flight even take off, I'm in the back with 3 crackers and some ginger ale talking about excuse me
God. Right.
with
You
my
like
knees on my
you even
chin.
know you could be right in the front too. Sipping on what did they
Oh,
give me on Qatar A380, sipping on Ace of Spade. Let me tell you that experience on the Ace of Spade. Only woman, I know it's one other woman up there. It was the only black woman, of course. Right in seat 1A, 1K, whatever it was. And it was I knew I had learned about it, because every aircraft is different. It's the one with the upper
yeah,
deck with the bar in the sky. Yes,
yeah.
and so when she asked me what I wanted to drink, I had some rosé at first, but then I got the Ace of Spade. And when I tell you just the difference in the service, I didn't drink it like that. That was like my second leg, and I was tired of drinking. I was tired of drinking champagne, but I had to get it. I mean, I had to get me some Ace of Spade. I had
Oh
let it
my
sit there a little
goodness.
bit. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna swap your champagne out because I'm sure it's warm." Like what? Like I wasted that. Like I was just gonna drink it, but she made sure I was topped off the whole flight. Like they just gave
Nice.
impeccable service. Like when I went to the bar, they were like warming up my food because they'll ask you when you want it. And cause she was like, you want me to call up to the front and ask them, is your food ready? So I'm expecting when I walk up there, my food ready. She's like, oh no, I'm going to bring it out when you sit down and set it out there for you. Like, all the things, honey. It was top tiers for my birthday. Amazing
Nice. Oh
experience.
my gosh.
Yes.
That sounds
And I got a
amazing.
video on my page too of like my experience and stuff like that. And I always put like how many points I use for the flights. I think it was like that one was like 110 or so,
Uh-huh.
114 and like
Okay.
200 and something dollars taxes and fees, but that was for the entire leg. I went from Chicago to Doha. I had an amazing layover in Doha.
Mhm.
I had the layover in Doha, and then I went from Doha to Bangkok. And so I was in the
Okay.
Qatar Q suites on the first leg, and then I was on
Ooh.
the upper deck A380 first class from Doha to Bangkok. I mean, at some point, it don't even feel like I was on a plane. Like
Wow, I
you
would
forget,
imagine.
it went by so fast. That flight was like 6 hours, but like you forget that you're on a plane. It was a
Oh my
top tier,
gosh.
amazing experience.
I would imagine. Now, here's a
Yeah.
question that I have. What is the difference though between points and miles? Is it just the way that the company calls it, or is there an actual difference between earning points versus earning miles?
So there is. So miles are typically going to be what you earn from your airlines, and it's also how they call it, right? Like Hilton, right? They call them Hilton Honors Points. You have
Hmm.
American Airlines; those are American Airlines Advantage miles. You have Delta Sky miles. You
Okay.
have your United. So usually the miles are the airlines, but some
Okay.
airlines may call them points, like British Airways or Qatar are called avios. So it's really the coin and the name for the currency of how they call
Gotcha.
it. Usually the points are gonna be the hotels, but also when you're earning them with your credit card, unless it's a co-branded card like the Delta Sky Miles, right? That is a
Hmm.
co-branded card, so it only earns miles. Versus your
Okay.
American Express Platinum card or your American Express Gold card earns membership reward points. Chase
Gotcha.
cards
Okay.
earn Chase Ultimate Reward points.
Okay.
Now the difference, one that's a little bit different, like Capital One, they call their points miles. So Capital One miles, but those are flexible too. You can
Yeah.
transfer
Okay.
those. Yeah.
Okay. Now, how do you keep track of all of it? Because I have right now 4 cards. I have two
Mhm,
business, two personal. I do where I collect all my travel points and miles.
mhm.
But I don't do a good job of keeping up with it. Like I went and looked
Okay.
at my Delta the other day, and I was like, "Oh, I only got like 7,000 miles left."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You created trackers, and I'm starting to create them to be digital products so that people can purchase them for a
Oh,
small fee. I
okay.
did create my own trackers, and so like my students have them. So I do have like my
Okay.
points who sign up for my course. When they sign up for my course, I give them like a sub, which we call, it's a lot of acronyms in this space, but like a sign up bonus tracker. So they keep track of the
Okay.
cars, when they got them, when they opened them, when they got approved, and when they need to meet the bonus by.
Uh huh.
So I have a tracker with that, and then in that tracker, tracking the points that you end up having with the different, your Chase points, your Amex points, your Hyatt points, your Sky Miles, all the things, like all the points. I have a tracker with that as well, and then I have a tracker where I track like my redemption. So like when I use my points, like okay, I used 114,000 points to go from Chicago to Bangkok.
Hmm.
This flight would have cost $10,000. I use X amount of points. This is how much I paid
Okay.
to get the value. To number one, to get the value, but to keep track of where my points, so I can say like I've got over 250,000 in nearly free travel since 2023. And the reason we say
Okay.
nearly free is because most hotels, excluding Marriott, we don't pay resort fees or taxes and fees versus the
Okay.
Hilton, Hyatt, you don't pay taxes and fees when you use your points. But when you fly with your flights, you have to pay the taxes and fees. I'm sure if you're aware. So like if it's domestic, and let's say you're going from Chicago to Atlanta and you're using you're on Southwest and you're using your rapid reward points, you may redeem that $5.60. So you still have to pay taxes and fees on that money. And
Okay.
sometimes those taxes and fees and surcharges could get high. Like the most I've paid is like $800 for taxes and fees, but that's for Emirates. That's for the Emirates
Okay.
game changer first class, and that flight should cost me about $14,000. So I
Okay.
mean $800
And
for that
and
experience.
drop in
For
the
that
bucket.
experience. Yeah, you can drop in the bucket,
Right.
okay, and then the points are
I
used.
love
So
that.
yeah,
All right, so let's do a scenario real quick because I'm loving this, and it's crazy that as much as I travel, that I haven't tapped into this space. Like, so just
yeah.
hearing you talk right now, I'm like, Nadine, what have you been doing? Why
That's
are you
how I
balled up
felt.
in 34A when you could have been up there in Ace of Spades too?
Look, and let me tell you, it is levels to this. Okay, since then I've gotten airline status. I have been a United 1K member. I am American Airlines executive platinum. That is the highest you can get without being invited. The highest you get is
Oh,
concierge key. And that's where
okay,
they invite you. Now that you gonna have
okay,
butts in the seat, okay. But the highest I've got is like executive platinum. I've been Southwest A list. I never got to those things
nice,
until I learned this game. There's way to get status. There's way to status match. Not to mention, I don't know if we got
yeah,
time for that. Cruises. Okay. I would say right now my mother is on a free cruise that I help her get. Okay. Her and her husband is in
nice.
Alaska right now. Free 10-day cruise on MSC in
I
Alaska.
that's right. I know that's
Last
right.
year we took a free one. We went to me and my family. We went to Virgin. That was the
Uh-huh.
first free. We did the Virgin voyage. We did the
Okay.
Celebration cruise. Richard Branson was on board. Our time was had. Okay, and then my second one I just did was in March, and that one
Okay.
we started in Puerto Rico, and we went to like 6 different islands with Saint Martin, Saint Lucia, Barbados, Saint Kitts and Nevis, and the French Martinique. And that one I paid
Nice.
$108. I just had to pay the taxes and fees, and I had a
Nice.
balcony tent.
I know that's right.
Yes.
Okay, so scenario. So you're getting ready. It's 2026. You're getting ready to plan a trip. Let's say it's your birthday. What are the
Mhm.
steps that you generally take to start planning? Use those points. Like, what should people know?
Okay, so I'll take it. So I'll take it a step. So we got. I'm gonna break that into two scenarios. If
Okay.
you just now planning and you have points, okay, now we're gonna start our search. But if we
Okay.
want to plan and we don't have points, we're gonna go in 2025 and get us some travel cards, earn them points so that we could use them for 2026.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the scenario where you have the points already and you like, hey, I want to start redeeming them, you'll start running your searches. And so you'll just go to, and I have all these resources. I'll give you guys my website. I have a paid course, but I also have tons of resources on my website. And so you'll just click where if it's Southwest, you'll put points. If it's American Airlines, you'll click redeem miles. Every
Mm-hmm.
website is going to be different. And so you'll put your dates in and everything, but they usually have a section where you can say points or miles or whatever they're called, their currency is called. And so
Mm-hmm.
you'll run your searches that way. And so you'll kind of
Okay.
see how much those cost. And the hotels are the easiest. The airlines could get a bit complex, especially when we're talking about the business and the first class, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
booking with partners. Like I would recommend starting as early as possible, but sometimes I'm last minute and I've had like last minute availability. So some will tell you like, oh, you need to start planning a year in advance. But everything for my recent birthday trip, I went to Thailand, Singapore, Bali, and Doha,
Ooh,
completely points and miles. Um,
nice.
that I started planning like December. So December is when I started booking my flights, start getting my hotels and things together. That was in December. My birthday was in April. So like 4 months ahead. So
Okay.
sometimes it could limit your flexibility, especially if it's more people. But
Okay.
outside of that, just run your searches, play around with it, do it earlier. Like on that trip, I actually booked for Maldives about
Mm-hmm.
65,000 points in Qatar Q suites and biz and first class again, just
Okay.
65,000 miles to go to the Maldives.
Mm,
Yes. So that
nice.
I booked in a year in advance. As soon as they opened their books up, I went
Yeah.
ahead and grabbed us because I want us to be in a quad, the seats together, like right next to each other. So I didn't want
Okay.
to risk, it's sometimes, of course, easier when you solo and it's just one person. But when it's a lot of you want to start early,
Yeah, that makes
especially
sense.
with your flight.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Mhm.
So now for those who don't have, where's a good place to start?
Top ones I always recommend is the Chase Sapphire.
Okay.
However, Chase has different rules. Every bank has different rules, and that's what makes me different than someone else that's going to tell you, like, "Hey, girl, go apply for this Chase card." And I don't even know if you qualify. So even if you got the credit score, because
Yeah.
I have people like, "I got an 800 and this and that," and they decline me. Well, if you open more than 5 cards in the last 24 months with any issuer, so Chase has this rule called the 5 for 24 rule, meaning if you apply for more than 5 cards with any issuer, they will not approve you for a card in the last 24
Oh,
months. So we call that
okay.
5 for 24. So sometimes people get into this game, a lot of it, and they'll be like, "Oh, I wanted to start, so I got the American Airlines card. I went and got a Delta card, and I went and got a Marriott card. Now you 3 for 24 already, and you got cards that you opened 2 years ago.
Oh,
So now you
okay.
already knocked yourself out. There's still options, but that's one of the ones that I usually say start with so that you can get out of that rule. Like start with the good one. Sometimes they're
Okay.
tougher with approval. Start there, and then we branch out to the other ones. But I always
Okay.
recommend you start with flexible points and miles. And what that means
Okay.
is co-branded is Delta. A Delta card is issued by American Express, right? But it
Mhm.
is you only earn Delta Sky Miles
That's right.
versus the American Express Platinum is a
Mhm.
flexible card, meaning that you
Yes.
earn membership reward points. You can redeem them from gift cards, statement credit. You can erase your purchases, but you can transfer them to partners. And they have about 10, 11 partners that you can transfer them to, such as Marriott, Hilton. You can transfer Amex points to Delta. So you see why it's like I'd rather have the Amex points because I can
Right.
redeem them for Delta, but I can also cover my hotel. Versus you get this
Yes.
Delta card, you only covering that Delta flight. And Delta flights are not the best when it comes to using points and miles. So
That's
that's
right.
that's a whole nother topic. But
Yeah.
So yeah, you want that flexibility. Same with like Chase, right? You get the Chase Sapphire Tours because they have some of the best partners. Marriott, they got Hyatt, which I love. They got
Mm.
Flying Blue. They have where you could get Avios. They got Southwest. They got United. So it's like instead of getting a United credit card, especially in the beginning. Now I'm not gonna say you're not gonna end up with these cards. You may get them because a lot of people coming in. Like, I'm a diehard Marriott fan. Like I'm a Marriott person. I want a Marriott card. Okay, we could get that down the line because we don't want to knock you out of 5 for 24 and
That
you
makes
got a bunch of
sense.
points from Marriott's. But what about your flights? What about somewhere well Marriott has the biggest footprint, but what if you go somewhere that doesn't have a Marriott and now you can't use your points, right?
Yeah.
So you want that flexibility, even though like I'm a Hyatt girly. I love Hyatt. They got some of the best points and miles. You could stay for 3,500 points somewhere at the category
Oh.
one. Yeah, it's a category one, but that's as low as it go versus the Marriott gonna be like 30, 40,000 points. You see, like
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
everybody is on different levels, right? So I love a Hyatt, but they don't have the biggest footprint. That would be Hilton
Okay.
and Marriott. So like when we went to Virgin Islands, we had to stay at a Marriott because that's really the only thing there. When
Mm.
we just went to Quebec, they didn't have a Hilton. I mean a Hyatt. Because if they did, I would have stayed at Hyatt. I
Gotcha.
stayed at the Hilton, so I still was able to use my points and stay at Hilton because I got flexible points, so I could stay anywhere, any
Mm.
brand, any airline, I could fly it. Number one is starting out with flexible currency. Do your research. Start out with flexible currencies. Start out with the Chase Sapphires. A lot of people will push the Amex Platinum. That is not a starter card. So you will hear me say that. That is not a starter card. Reason being, that fee is $695.
Oh, it's
Okay.
95 now?
Yes, 695, and they may be going up. Okay. So granted
I
you
mean, the
get
perks are
lounge.
worth it, but yes.
Yes, and that's why I mean gotta be worth it too. Like I have the business one and I get over $1,400 of value, not to mention we get Avis status. So when I rent my cars, baby, I don't go to that line. I go straight to my car, pick it on the app.
Mhm.
Um I think it's Hertz is one of them. Like the intangible things, not just the money and the credits. We get Hilton
Okay.
Gold status, we get Marriott Gold status. They got some of the best
Mhm.
protection out there with anybody, whether it's purchase
Mhm.
protection, travel protection, all the things with that, not to mention the different airline credits, the Dell credits, and the lounge access and stuff like that. But it has to work for you. And somebody that's just not getting into the game, and when I first started, when I was getting my credit cards, I got all the cards that didn't have a fee. So we got to
Yeah.
build you up from the $95
Yeah.
fee. That was me younger. Now I wouldn't bat an eye if a fee is like $800 if I know I'm going to get the value. Not
That's
to
right.
mention the sign up bonus. The sign up bonus is one thing. You giving me 200,000 points. That right there, you know what I could do with that?
Yeah.
Not to mention all the credits and the lounge access and the credits you're gonna get with the Amex
Yeah.
Platinum with the Dell credit that they have. I've bought my Bose headphones with that. This chair
Okay.
I'm sitting in came off of there. My docking station.
Nice.
My Alexa Echo Show, the big one that moves with
Yeah.
you. I got that off Dell. A lot of people won't realize like Dell has all these things, but I'm able to cover that for free with my credit with my Amex card.
And you know what's interesting? I think the one thing that is not really understood is that you've already spent this money by paying for your everyday things. And you said that
Mhm.
in the beginning, but I feel like it has to click because that part I
Yeah.
understood. I just didn't maximize it. But it's like I'm already spending this money and it's
Yeah.
coming back to me because now I'm using it as points. But now
Yeah.
here's the one thing that I've always wondered about. I have not had the need to close a credit card. But when I was younger and I was like, okay, I got to get rid of this, I got to get rid of that, just stuff that I had left over from college and yada, 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 I closed those cards. So now that I'm using cards, for my benefit, I don't see a need or a desire to close them. But I'm sure that there are some people that might open it up some, use it, earn and burn, like you
Mhm.
said, but then kind of be like, okay, I need to get rid of it. Do you advise that?
Yep. So that's because that's called sometimes churning too, because sometimes people want to apply for the same card to get the bonus. Now you can't do it right away. Every bank has rules like the Chase Sapphire. You can't get the bonus if you got it for years, right? But
Oh.
some people will get into the game, right? And they're like, I had
Hmm.
the Chase Sapphire for 10 years. Okay, well, we gonna downgrade or cancel that card, not if it's your oldest though. And that's why I say
Hmm.
the difference with me is I'm still coming from the mindset of credit repair, credit consulting. I'm not gonna tell you to
Okay.
close your oldest card, but what we can do is downgrade that card, okay,
Hmm.
and so we could go apply again, so you could get the bonus. because you qualify.
Okay.
Yeah, but your oldest cars, we not touching those. So my oldest was I was 18 in college. My first car going to college is Discover. Longest car, I don't use it, but it's my oldest car. So that card is, I'm not gonna say the age, but the card is over 10 years old. It's my oldest car, so I'm gonna keep it. And so if you get value
Okay.
out of it, as long as some of them will close. So I have had cars closed because I don't use them anymore. So you're not also not
Mm,
gonna close your card that got like the highest limit, right? Because now you're going to drag down your credit score because of your availability and all those things. So it's other factors to it, but there's ways to do it to have like minimal impact. That is a good segue to people like, okay, well, I know this give you bad credit. This is a pay to play. You have to have good credit to be in this game, right? And so it's so many people with 800 credit scores, and the credit scores are great. Your credit score may take a ding for inquiries, but outside of that, it's gonna bounce back. These are considered premier cards, right? To be able to
mhm.
hold the American Express Platinum and the Gold, you have to have
Yep.
great credit.
Yep.
And sometimes even great credit, Amex be like, I don't know you as a customer yet. Let's start with a basic card. Then we can talk about getting a big dog.
Yeah.
So it's levels to it. I don't want people to be blindly applying or things like that. To be like, I applied for this and I got denied. And it's like, had you told me before you applied, I would have told you not to apply. Or I would
Yeah.
have gave you another option.
Yeah. No, that
I would
makes
have gave you
sense.
another, like, Imma keep it 100 with you. I would have gave you another option. And sometimes me and my people, we be going through the list stops like we gonna figure it out. Especially once
Yeah.
they start having so many different cars, or you may get to a point where it's like your score is good, nothing, but they just like, I've lent you as much, we've extended as much limit to you that we're willing to extend. And
Mm,
that's
okay.
that's a thing, a real thing too. Because people again, they get so offended. My 800s club get
Yeah.
so offended, like they
Yeah.
denied me. I don't want to work with them, and it's just like it is not that. It is so many different factors that's
Factors.
your
Yeah.
score, even if you don't got no balance. That could be a red flag. You don't got no balances on your car, but you got access to 100,000 in credit. Why do you need more credit? You don't even use the credit you have. But
Right.
also, you have access to $100,000 in credit, but you only make 150 a year, if that. Now you have way too much credit to your debt, and you know what I'm saying? Your
Yeah.
ratio, so like
Mm,
their credit risk exposure is too high. And so it's just helpful to learn instead of just being like, get on TikTok like, oh, I got this Chase preferred card and I did this, and I just be sitting back looking like, that is not it, baby. Don't do that. And then or some people like, I got this card and now I did such and such. And it just be like, but you didn't get advisement or look first. Like, I understand, people don't want to pay, they want to teach themselves, because I teach myself. But the benefit that you have someone like me or a certified bloggers out there that's been in this space is
right.
you get the benefit from my mistakes. And so that
Yeah.
very first trip with Hilton, I'll go back to that. I had transferred my points over. And so Hilton has where if you stay 5 nights, your fifth night is free. So you only need to
Okay.
cover 4 nights with points. Hilton
Okay.
has that, and Marriott. Hilton, it has to be a standard availability though. It cannot be premium. And so the
Okay.
representative didn't even know that. So she told me like, oh, so when it wasn't working and it said I still needed more points, I called in. She was like, oh, you need to have the points available, and then it'll refund you the points. So
Huh.
at that point, I actually had purchase points. So I'm like, I'm not trying to turn on my points, because remember, this take most of my points away. So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I purchased the points. They had like a little sale, couple $100. I purchased the points. And so I pay for it. I don't get my points back. It miraculously, I've been on the phone with her for like an hour. The call disconnected. Now, me being me, baby, I report them to the Better Business Bureau, reach out to your corporate, because somebody gonna refund my money and give me my points.
Right.
And so I
Right.
ultimately got all that back, but it was just to say the corporate told me, they're like, we're sorry. What she misinformed you is you get the fifth night free on standard availability. That was premium. And so therefore you had to
Okay.
cover the 5 nights, and you ain't getting none back. I got it back because of the courtesy. Like, they can see I transferred points, you see I bought points, and you see I was on the phone. It was a whole ordeal.
Right.
But it's like,
Right.
you benefit because I was new to the space. I didn't know, and that could have been a very costly mistake. Some
Gotcha.
common mistakes
Okay.
people make, transferring all their points. Like, oh, I'm going to transfer all my points to United. Well, now they stuck there. And then let's
Mm,
not even talk about the airlines that their points expire if you don't use them. So this one guy was
okay.
saying he had a ton of American airline points, didn't use them. They expired. They was beyond the point of reinstatement, and they told them no. like they're not reinstating, so you lost all your points. And so transferring points is a one-way street. So when you transfer points, they're stuck there. So you want to make
Mhm.
sure, like I said, you start with running your searches, you know how much is needed, and you transfer them. Don't just transfer and move all your points and then
Right,
they are
okay.
stuck there because you want that flexibility. And you can't transfer them back. So United can't send your points back to Chase. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Delta can't send your points back to American Express. So they just stuck with Delta. And in that instance, I was so mad at Hilton. I was like, you canceled the whole thing. But it was just like American Express was like, no, well, unfortunately, even with this, we can't get your points back. So it's like I was stuck with it. So I was really upset. And so, still resilient. I still had an amazing time. And by the time I returned from it, everything from my trip, everything was resolved. But you get to learn from those type of mistakes and common things that people will make getting into this game. And so I've even seen people like, oh yeah, do you know they didn't get them the bonus for this card? I'm like, what card? I didn't even know they had them apply for the same card 2 times back to back. I didn't even know they would approve you that close for the same card back to back. I said, yeah, because you can't get the same card, the same bonus back to back. I didn't even know they would approve you for that card again. So when they spent the money and hit the bonus and they didn't get no points, and they're like, no. But I'm like,
Mm.
that's because you're just out here. I use my referral and sign up. And it's just like not knowing that person's situation. And now she just signed up for a card that and spent
Yeah.
$4,000 and she ain't got no points to show for it, besides the base point. And now you've added to your 5 for 24. So
Okay,
you
so this
add
this
that in
this
there
is
too.
a game for like
Yeah.
you gotta know how to play the game. You gotta know how to play a game. This yeah.
Yes. Like we got to get you together because you travel too much to not get you together. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Your points and mile strategy. You travel way too much to
Yes.
not maximize those benefits. And like you said, this is money you're already going to be spending.
Yeah.
Right? I have people when I tell you when tax time comes, they may
Mhm.
get 2, 3 cards, which I get it because now it's gonna take you and your family to Italy for like a month.
Oh
Right?
wow.
I've had different levels with gift cards. Like there's one card that gets you 5 times the points on gift cards.
Uh-huh.
So they may not be working on a bonus, but they could buy these gift cards and use them for their everyday purchases. Where are you gonna get that kind of time return on investments on something you gotta pay anyway?
True. True.
Yeah. So, but again, on the flip side, it's how you're doing it. You're using your credit card as a debit card, meaning you pay it off,
And you don't use
right?
that
You're going
debit
to
card
pay it
at
off.
all.
You're not accruing. Yes, you're not accruing debt, And so for me, I barely use my debit card. I never, especially for the protection. Like I know that if something happens, American Express got me or this, especially in foreign countries.
Right.
And so I have my keeper cards that I keep in my wallet, and keep on me when I travel wherever I go. I got my card. They give me 5 times the points at hotels. Because then we start, if we're in a space where we're like, okay, I'm not going to get all these cards right now. I want to take a break or whatever, how you feeling in that moment. It's like, okay, maximize what you have
Right.
when you're like on a break. So if I'm not working on a bonus, I got this card is going to give me 3 times the points on travel. That's going to be my Airbnbs, my hotels, airlines. But I have a card that gives me 5 times the points on hotels and 4 times the points on airlines.
Mm.
I got this card, well, I'll call like a catch-all card that gets 2 times on everything. Oh, but that card gets charged foreign transaction fees. So that card don't come with me out the country because
Okay.
I don't want to pay foreign transaction fees. So
Okay.
I leave that card at home. But I keep my ones on me, and I always travel with the Amex card
Mhm.
because to get in the lounge, but also just like my Amex. But a lot of countries, people are like, oh, I can't use my Amex. 99% of the time in the places that I have traveled to, I haven't had problems using my Amex unless it's like a smaller business or something like that. But like the hotel gonna take it, the airline gonna take it.
Mhm.
So it could just depend. But I always keep my Visa and my Chase Sapphire Preferred. I keep that in my wallet
Okay.
and a couple other ones, but I keep any card, no foreign transaction fees. That's number one.
Mhm.
But also my ones that's going to keep me earning and a higher one that gets me, travel protection and all those things. You want to make sure that you're keeping those cards on you as well.
Okay. So the main things that I'm hearing from you is that people need to really grasp in all of this is accountability, having that financial like responsibility, right? So and
Yes.
then of course knowing what you actually have in your pocket. A lot of times we get things, whether it be a credit card or anything else, and we're not reading and paying attention to. I won't even call it the fine print because sometimes it'll be right there in
Yeah.
Times New Roman size 12. And you still didn't
The
read it.
benefits be right there, and they'll be like, "I
Yeah.
don't even know this." You know how many people will pull out. I've had one of my family friends come over and she pulled out her cards, and I'm just like, so you go sit with the commoners and you got lounge access and don't even know it. So you go sit and
In
go
Gen
pay for
Pop.
food and drink when
Yeah.
you could go, yeah, you sit with Gen Pop when you could go sit in the lounge and get drinks and food for free.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
You
what
may
I'm
even go
hearing.
take a shower.
Yeah.
Baby, the lounges in Singapore got a nap room.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
When I went to the lounge in Doha, honey, they had a jacuzzi. I went and
Oh,
went in the jacuzzi. Some of them
okay.
give you massages, free massages. Okay, so what make them what I say is put those cards to work.
Yeah.
Make those
Yeah.
benefits
Work
because
for you.
outside of the sign up bonuses, the cards have value too. They have credits. The Chase Sapphire, a lot of people don't know if they hold that. You get $10 a month for DoorDash and you get a DoorDash pass
Yeah.
for like to
Yeah.
2026.
I
So I just
shamelessly use
ordered
that.
some body lotion to be delivered, just those type of benefits as well, not to mention the other benefits that these cards come with. You still
Hmm.
got all those other benefits like that as well. Like my Amex Gold gives me $20 either at office supply stores or a Grubhub. So if I'm not traveling and ordering out and I'm at home like I did this week, I was in Office Max. I grabbed a $20 card to use at Bloomingdale's and Macy's or whatever, and I just charge it to that card. They're gonna give me the $20 back. Like it's so much. And all you gotta do is go look at your benefits.
And
So
that
where you
whole
find
long
this
list of
information,
rewards. Yep.
yes, you log into your portal.
Hmm.
You log in your portals and they either have like rewards or benefits. Like if it's Amex, you go to your Amex at the bottom, it'll say like rewards, benefits. Go down your list of benefits that your cards offer because a lot of times people don't even notice this.
Hmm.
Put those things to work. And then if you go down, also on the flip side, you holding all these cards and you may be paying fees. And if you're not getting the value out of them, cancel them. Not
Yep.
if they're your oldest. Remember that.
Hmm.
Analyze what you have now and see what you could either get rid of or you could just downgrade. There are some cards where, you could downgrade to a fee free card. So, like the Chase Sapphire, I wouldn't say downgrade to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I don't want to pay that no more, whatever, you can downgrade that to like the Freedom card and you don't have to pay an annual fee. So, you still keep the credit line, you still keep the history. You just product changing the card.
Okay.
So, you want to go through those things too to see if it's working from you. A lot of people may start to feel like, you know what, this ain't benefiting me. My mom is one of them because like when she goes, she rarely go to the lounge because she ain't there early enough. Everywhere I go, I'm scouting out the lounge. Okay.
Right. Same. Same here.
Even if I just go use the bathroom and go get me some water to put in my cup, I'm going in the lounge. I get it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't benefit you, it doesn't benefit you. And so this is where people get it too. They think they're gonna get the bonus and then either downgrade or cancel the card. Legally, when you apply for a credit card, you are agreeing to hold it for at least 1 year.
Okay.
After your anniversary rolls around, you have 30 days after you are charged that fee
Hmm.
to determine if you want to get rid of it, if you want to product change it, whatever.
Okay.
Get a retention offer, but you have to hold that card at least 1 year. You are agreeing to that. I know most people don't read the agreement. You are agreeing to that when you apply because you'll have some people do that. Like, I tried to cancel this card, or I don't want it no more. Like, and they'll tell you can't cancel.
Okay. Okay.
So, regardless, you ain't
That's
getting that
good to
money
know
back.
because I don't think I knew that. I didn't know that at all. So that's good to know.
Yeah, but it,
Yeah.
it was a card act in 2009, or I forgot what year, but a part of that card act is legally you are agreeing to keep that card for at least a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, this has been great. First of all, I've learned a lot myself. Like I'm gonna play this back
Um,
and like go through, take some notes, like all the things. But how can people reach you?
I know
Because
you joined the group.
yeah, yes, I'm
Check
in
out
the
my
group now
website.
too. So yes, yes.
Yeah. So my web, so you can find me everywhere, Journey with Reese J. So that's everything spelled out, but Reese like the candy. So it's Journey with Reese, REESEJ.com.
Okay.
And at the top of my website, it has all the links to my social, but everything I am Journey with Reese J
Hmm.
on, including my Facebook group. My Facebook page is Reese Johnson. Sometimes that's kind of harder to find, but if you could, once you find a group and stuff like that, you can find me. I'm on all socials. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads. I'm on everything. But if you start with my website, you can reach me, email me. That's how you can contact me and find everything.
Okay, excellent. And the links will be down below in the comments as well as in the
Yeah.
description on the podcast. So that'll make it easier for you too. But if you're listening and you're driving and you don't have the time to really look through the description, you heard it here. Journey
Yes.
with reesej.com, correct?
Yes.
All right. All
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Well, Risi, thank you so much. This was really, really good. Like I don't know why I haven't dipped my toe in as much. I guess I didn't really. I thought I was doing enough, but you have just opened my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, no, girl, you
And
can
it's
do a
a
little
lot of
more.
us. I was the same way. It was
Yeah.
a lot of us, and so even though it's ever changing, it's still a great game to get into, especially
Yeah.
because you already have these benefits.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are like that. And that's why I want to bring awareness to it, because a lot of times some people ear turn off like points and miles, I got points and miles,
Yeah.
or credit
Yeah.
card,
I
I
was like,
don't
oh, I
want a
got
credit
it.
card, or you're gonna go into debt and this and that. And it's just like, if you create the program, and like you said, I love that you led with accountability. If you have that financial accountability for yourself
Yes.
and these things, like, start there, you're spending it anyway.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I gotta pay my rent. At the end of the day, I have to pay, I have to pay my car note, I have to pay taxes, I have to, pay for these things, my hair, nails. Look, my nail tech knows, she be like, you using a credit card? She be like, you got a gift card today? Because sometimes I got a gift card. But it's like, where else I'm gonna get 5 times back on my nails at? Nowhere. So
Right.
yeah, here's this gift card, and you may gotta split up the transaction.
That's right. That is hilarious. But you do have to make
Baby,
your
look,
money
I'll
work for
play about
you.
some points. I need all the
I
points.
know
Do you
that's
hear me?
right. I know that's right. You got to make it work for
I'll give
you.
this out in with this note.
Okay.
My birthday, we went to brunch.
Uh-huh.
It was an expensive little brunch. And so my friend's like, just let Reese let's Zell Reese the money so she could get her point. And the bill was quite high. And I used my Amex Gold to get 4 times on dining.
Okay.
And it was about a $1,500 bill. That bill paid for my flight to Toronto in business class.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Like, thank you, girl. That is one of the best gifts you can give me.
Right. Right. I love that.
So yes, it gets to the point, then you put everybody on. Now it's like, who using their card?
Right.
Who?
Right.
I'll be like, you know what? Well, if that, I don't care. I get it. You want your points, but I want them to split and charge mine to my card because I want my points. I ain't got cash.
I know that's right. Especially when the restaurants are doing 3 and 5 times and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah. And then, especially if you're working on a bonus, I gotta hit my bonus.
Yes.
If somebody working on a bonus and needed to spend $4,000, $1,500 paying the bulk of it, and it
That's
ain't even
almost
your
half.
money.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I
Yes.
even had some people where they got in the game and it's like, oh, I paid my sister rent and I paid my best friend rent, and they gave me their money, and you hit your bonus, and now you coming with me to Barcelona and Ibiza.
Boom.
Boom. Like, hey, you gotta get creative.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
You gotta make this game work for you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But Risi, I am so grateful that you was here today to just share this all with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I hope somebody took something from this. Like I said, come join the group, come follow me. I share these things. I'm very, you can reach out to me if you have questions. It's so amazing to look in my group and see that I have people all over the world in there.
That's what's up. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Traveling Black Women Podcast. I really hope that you've gotten something from this. I mean, y'all, there is no excuse why we can't see the world, why we can't travel the world. Whatever it is, whether it's points and miles, just doing regular savings, whatever. Now you have options.
Yeah.
And that's what is important to me, that you have the resources to make it do what it do.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, y'all take care. Thank you, Risi.
Of course, no problem. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Traveling Black Women Podcast. You can find us online at www.travelingblackwomen.com. And there you can find plenty more travel resources to help you plan your very next trip. We've got travel guides, we've got a blog, we've got our vlog, and you just listened to our podcast. I look forward to seeing you around. Thanks for tuning in.